This is going to be the after cleaning video for the Patton rotating grill box fan. It turned out pretty good, I think. There's a lot less dirt anyway. Looks a lot different since the last time we looked at it. I think it looks pretty good. Let's see if we can tip it back and get a look at the sticker on the bottom. Hopefully you guys can read that okay. There's some minor cosmetic stuff that didn't want to clean up. Little scuffs here and there, and then the white plastic has some yellowing that didn't want to come out. There's a big scratch on the side of the fan I couldn't get to clean up either. I don't know what that is, but it's not going anywhere. I tried multiple cleaners and scrubbers, hot, cold, you name it. Couldn't get that to come out. I'm not sure what's up with that. So before we run the fan, I made a couple of videos to show you guys the motor and the blade and what all of that looks like having the front half of the guard removed. Because it's kind of hard to see through the slats and whatnot, so I figured I would do that so you guys could check that out. We'll go ahead and put that in here. Here is the motor, and it was surprisingly clean, being that the cabinet was completely filthy, which was a nice surprise because I actually didn't end up taking the motor apart. I just vacuumed it out, and then I used the zoom spout to get in there and oil the bearings. I intended to take it apart, but what ended up happening was I could not get these clips off. I've taken clips off of motors like this from other fans, little Fastco motors, but I couldn't get these to budge, and it seemed like I was going to have to potentially ruin something to be able to get it apart, so I just left it as is. Used the zoom spout to get in there. There's pretty easy access in there, so as you can see, so it wasn't too bad, and it's kind of nice to see that the motor wasn't too dirty. The windings weren't grimed up or anything at all. It was just dusty, and everything seemed to vacuum out pretty good, so I think I got lucky there. Here's some sticker information. Caution, automatic reset. Just a basic unplug the fan before you do anything message there. Patton PAB-12RE draws 1.1 amp. And connection diagram, and then on the underneath side it says made in Korea, which is interesting. Pretty neat little motor. I mean, it's a simple, basic, I think 3-inch motor that's probably used on a lot of other stuff, but kind of neat to see. It looks like it would be a Patton motor painted blue like this, so I'm pretty lucky. I think it worked out that it wasn't too grimed up or anything, and I didn't have to do that much to service it. Here it is now with the blade mounted on, and the blade looks like it was made specifically to pair with this motor. See the hub there, how it wraps around the front of the motor. That's kind of cool. I would bet that this blade and motor pairing is probably used for a variety of applications. Seems to work pretty well for this one though. And the motor has a pretty good speed variation, I found. We'll start it on low first. Pretty mellow low speed. And we'll do a velocity check on it. right up there in the 500s. Go to medium. Around 900 feet per minute, so we're going high now. Airflow is pretty blustery. High speed was getting up there around 1100 feet per minute. So we were 500 to 600 on the low, around 900 on the medium, and around 1100 on the high. So pretty good speed variation. I wonder though if that all goes out the window once we put the front guard on. The front guard being the rotating grill type is going to make it tricky to do any kind of velocity measuring and might kind of render it pointless. But it's pretty neat though, pretty neat blade, pretty neat looking blade too. Kind of a different style blade than you would typically see on a box fan. So we'll get this thing put back together and see how it goes. Okay, and there was one other thing that I forgot to mention during the motor portion of that was this back piece here was not intended to come off. Basically I had to break it to get it to come off, but this needs to come off in order to access the lock nuts back here, so you could remove you pull the motor off. And I wasn't sure how it was connected in there, so I started wondering if maybe it was threaded in there. So what I did was I put my palm on it, pressed it, and did like a push and turn at the same time kind of thing, and ended up breaking the two little tabs. There's like two little, like, just tiny plastic tabs that hold it on here. Actually, I think they're up like right here and right here, but I ended up snapping those, which was probably for the best, because I think the only other way that I could have gotten that off of there would have been to put a screwdriver or something in here and try to pop it off, which probably would have just cracked it, or either broke it in half or broke it in multiple pieces. But that's how I ended up removing this, was doing the push and turn and snapping those tabs, and then I just, when I went to put it back on there, I super glued it back in place. So yeah, that's that. I like this fan though. I think it's a neat fan. I kind of wish that they would have just done away with the rotating grill bit and put like a normal grill here that's maybe a little more aerodynamic friendly. I don't know. It's still pretty cool though. There was one issue that I had with the rotating grill, where it doesn't work quite the same as it did before, but we'll get to that here in a minute. Let's go ahead, we'll run through the speeds without the rotating grill engaged, and then we'll use the rotating grill after that. So here's the high speed. in. Low. And on low speed, there is kind of an intermittent rattle. I'm not really sure what that is or where it's coming from. I can barely make it out, but it seems like it comes and goes just on low speed. I don't really notice it on the other speeds. But we'll go ahead and run the rotating grill. The issue I had with the rotating grill was it seems like it's either stopped, it's either tightened and stopped, or when I loosen it up, it'll loosen all the way up where it just spins as freely as it's supposed to. Basically, I lost the ability to fine tune it, where it says faster and slower. It's either all the way open or all the way shut. I lost the ability to fine tune it in between, and I'm not really sure what happened there. But we'll open this up. And then you see what happens. It turns on its own. This loosens up on its own. So I'm not really sure why it does that. Still works though. Still just as mesmerizing as ever. Go up to medium. If I try to snug this up, it's just going to loosen up again on its own. It shouldn't do that. Spin down. So I'm not sure why the rotating grill does that, but it's no big deal. I'm not about to take it off again and try to figure it out anytime soon. I think it'll be just fine. I am going to use the fan though. Plan on using it immediately. So I think it's a pretty good fan. It's a good size too. Good size little box fan. It's got a nice deep cabinet. It is a little bit noisy. The acoustics of the plastic just kind of amplify every little rattle and noise that comes out of there. But on the low speed, I probably won't use it for anything above low speed. I think the low speed is pretty nice. And it moves plenty of air on low speed. There are startup sounds to it. I guess we'll check those out quickly. We'll do the high speed first. Here's high speed, startup. Here's the medium speed, startup. And now the low.